Hey, what's up guys? How's it going? So, today I want to go over a new playstyle that I've got that, as of today, right, the past month, I know you guys are probably wondering why exactly I've been gone, and I'll kind of explain it later in the video, but, well, let's begin. So, with the playstyle, right, at this point in the game, I've lost a lot. Let's just say I've lost like millions and millions upon millions of troops. All right, I've done it all at this point. I've done a solo trap. I've done a wall trap. I've done a rally trap, at least in terms of troop size. Okay, and here's what I can tell you. Yeah, it works. You can defend, and you can defend, and you can kill quite a bit, right? But with the recent updates and stuff like that, with, well, the Blackwing Familiar that we've had, it's becoming very blatantly clear that now it's time to be the offensive player. Because, obviously, everybody that's heard about this is probably already, you might be just sitting here thinking, oh, great, another video about a Blackwing Familiar being incredibly overpowered. Yeah, I mean, if you really had to think about it, man, if you're able to kill the enemy's wounded troops, that's a big game changer, okay? Like, if anything, all this does now is it rewards the guy that has it. And I've always been a big proponent of the familiars, and I've always have said multiple times that, guys, if there's anything I don't regret having, it's the familiar tree. All right, because at this point, I'm getting 1,000 to 2,000 gems. I'm getting holy star items now. I'm getting tier 4 every couple days. I'm getting my wall HP healed up when it goes down. And so the benefit, right, of being able to have a wall, being able to have troops, being able to rally players and be able to rally trap and defend yourself as a solo trap or something like that, right? What I'd like to kind of explain is why is it exactly what is different from this playstyle than the other ones? Well, basically what I plan on doing, all right, is I'm going to build up 375,000 troops of one troop type. Now, don't get me wrong, all right, I think it would be kind of ideal, right, if I could build 375,000 of, say, tier 4 infantry, range, or cavalry. Make all three, 375k of each type. I think that'd be pretty ideal, right? Because ultimately what that allows you to do then is you're able to go out, you can pick a guy, rally him out, and, basically rinse, repeat. And then whatever you don't have left over, you just heal back up, and you go back and just do it all over again, right? But obviously for me, I've found that it's very rarely going to happen that way. And I feel like, at least in the offensive playstyles that we have out there, I think the one thing that you can do to kind of make it affordable for yourself is just be really good at it. One thing. Now, obviously, I can do infantry, range, or cav because my gear kind of allows me to do that. So if I wanted to be a cav player, all you got to do is swap out to cav drums, and voila, I've essentially become a cav player. Vice versa, the same thing could be said with range or infantry or two types, and vice versa. Now, ultimately, right, the one thing that I'm kind of looking forward to is with this playstyle, I'm basically, what I'm able to do, all right, is I'm able to generate about 2.3 to 2.5 mil of these resource types. Now, that comes in handy because, again, all I have to do is swap over to stone and wood production gear. And essentially, I am right back to where I can really produce a good chunk of resources and not have multiple hyper accounts, at the same time. And then all I have to do is take that excess production that I'm producing and just drop it off and send it off to somebody that can keep it, and then basically it's an ideal situation for basically the person that gets it as well as the person that, may need them down the road, and I think it's ultimately kind of interesting because what this playstyle allows me to do with, right, is that if, for example, I may be making stone and timber, but someone else in the guild can make ore, and I can make the gold and the stone and the timber. That kind of makes it easier rather than having to pull from bags, and rather than try to build up like an enormous number of troops and have this infuriating situation where, you gotta get rallied, you lose all your troops that you work so hard and so you spent so much resources, gems, and speeds building. you know, if you build only 375k, it's really easy to hide that way in a shelter. And the worst thing that can happen is they hit the wall and they lose some troops. And I'm not having to constantly wind up in this situation where it's like, ah, great, I've lost everything, you know. And it's ultimately, right, why I think I'm going to go with this playstyle instead is because of what this allows me to do then is, so I'm able to hide what I have, right? Now I can always build up a couple, you know, 100k or so of tier 1 if I want, and essentially use that as buffer to go grab, you know, say, you know, if I want to go out and grab maybe a couple 100k resources on a tile, I can do that. Or I could go find a player that I've zeroed out and I can wipe them clean. But either way, right, the idea being is that you're having to play with a bare minimum. You're not trying to make yourself an ungodly sized player, because it seems to me now that we have the Blackwing Familiar and stuff like that, that kind of playstyle is slowly becoming a feasible option. It's shrinking. It's, you know, it's becoming something that even now it's like the Titans are becoming fairly scary. Like you're definitely not gonna want to be on the like. You don't want to be on the wrong end of that. You really don't. And so for that reasoning, all right, I've kind of come to the conclusion that it benefits me as a player to kind of sit back and build what I can and be able to reinforce with what I can. And that way, as a rally lead, if I decide that, you know, hey, I'm going to go cav and I'm just going to smack somebody in cavalry, and then maybe somebody next to me who's got range gear or infantry gear, they can then pack a punch and use their gear. But I'm never going to be the sole leader in all 3 unit types because I can only have what I can use. But this works out for me because instead of having to spend all those speed ups on troops, they can just sit there in the back and I can use them for Guildfest. You know, and then obviously, you know, the gems that was used on troops now can just sit there. It can build up and I can use it to rebuild every time I lose, you know, past that 375k limit, right? And that, I think, is kind of the more ideal playstyle for me, anyway, because I've often found myself in a situation where losing your leader is inevitable. You know, especially if you're going to rally, it's just inevitable. So I got pretty used to losing my leader these past couple months, because obviously, like I've been trying to say, you know, it's been a rough couple months. You know, obviously, I know you guys haven't heard from me, but this and a few other things have just recently kind of pushed me off edge. You know, I wasn't really too terribly jumpy about playing this game anymore. And I had to sit back and think about it. You know, I was like, well, do I continue playing or do I not? You know, because there are so many things that you lose every time you get zeroed. It's just a completely morally, it just drops the morale, and really it's just never something you want to come back to. But the thing about it is that at the end of the day, all right, getting somebody like Blackwing, I think just for anybody that has a little bit of money, you don't even need much, you need like $5, but $5 over like a really long period of time, and eventually you get this ability. Right now, I know some of you guys out there are like, well, that's going to cost you a lot of gems to build skeleton, isn't it? Well, not really, because the thing is you can get chaos cores, okay? If you don't know what chaos cores are, let's just not say that, yeah, if you're going to gem them, right? But I can tell you for a fact that you can get them through packs, because back when they first came out, that is how you used to get chaos cores in the first place. And I happen to just, I don't know, I've got like some chaos cores just sitting around because I used to get them out of the actual, during hell events. Okay, they would make themselves available. So for more than one reason, okay, there's a very giant gain to be getting these kind of familiars, because ultimately what that's going to allow you to do is down the road you're going to be able to basically pack a hell of a punch during rallies on players that are AFK or on players that are online. Vice versa, you know, it's going to become really helpful on Wonder Wars. You know, and maybe even for the Baron Wars, you know, I can see it being used. But anyway, the point is, right, is that for me, I've kind of decided that the offensive playstyle seems to be kind of the way to go. And so I'm going to investigate, you know, more about how players have gone about actually, you know, just in general, how players have decided to rally targets. Obviously, I've seen how people have done it to me, but I'm really kind of curious in investigating kind of what people prefer. You know, do you do a 2-unit type setup? Do you do a 1-unit type setup? You know, what kind of methods do people prefer to use? especially seeing as how, you know, there are so many different types of people out there that are going out hitting forts left and right on a regular basis. I mean, it's been known for quite a while. But anyway, that's just pretty much it, all I have to say for this video. But hopefully you guys learned a thing or two, and I hope that, you know, coming back isn't going to be a whole disaster by any means. But in any case, I'll see you guys then.